Australia isn't the only country taking on Meta over fair funding for news. Canada is also fighting to hold the tech giant responsible for the content on its platform. The dispute there has escalated after Meta banned news from Facebook, despite the dangers it posed to Canadians during the recent record wildfire season. Our Sky News Washington correspondent Annalise Nielsen travelled to Yellowknife in Canada for this special report.
These were the fires that raged across northwest Canada last August, threatening the town of Yellowknife. News bulletins across Canada and the world carried the terrifying images.
Officials have announced an evacuation order for the entire city.
We had easily the worst wildfire season in the history of the Northwest Territories.
These are some of the most striking scenes from the emergency event, including video sent to the local radio station of fires raging close to the town. Local journalists recording First Nations elders welcoming South African firefighters who'd flown in to help. On YouTube, Cabin Radio shared prayers for its fire-stricken community from the northern town of Populate, and captured these last images of the eerie, abandoned streets after the 20,000 residents were evacuated. But for local station Cabin Radio, there was one place they couldn't share their stories. Those on the ground in Yellowknife, along with every other Canadian, discovered their Facebook pages blocked any attempt to share news stories. The ban came into effect just as the evacuation order was implemented.
We were prepared for that happening, and then it did happen right in the middle of wildfire season, and we thought that was a very stupid and dangerous thing to do.
Ollie Williams from Cabin Radio was among the last to leave.
I worked at the BBC for about 10 years, on or off, and I enjoyed that. That was a great job, but it is nowhere near as interesting or as important as what I do now. I can affect so much change here by responsibly reporting things and helping people. The wildfires, all we did was help people get out of danger, get the resources they needed, understand to the best of our ability.
Yellowknife was spared the worst of the wildfires and no homes or lives were lost. But the community learned the consequences of Meta's news ban firsthand. Not only could those working to share information not rely on Facebook, many residents didn't even realise they were missing out on critical news that would normally be in their Facebook feed.
That was a challenge because a lot of people, that's where they go to get their news source, and for a lot of residents they hadn't even realised that it was no longer in their news feeds.
It's during those times of emergencies like a wildfire that the government will work to push critical information in front of anyone in the area who might need it. But what about those times when there isn't a crisis, when there needs to be accountability of government? That news isn't getting in front of ordinary people, and many don't even know what news they're missing out on as their feeds populate with other information.
That's what I worry about, is people who don't have that media literacy on the internet. We still get messages from people saying, have you guys stopped publishing news? No, we haven't. It's over here. You're just using Facebook as though it were the internet, which is why you can't find it. We still have a responsibility to try to make sure that those people have access to news. Facebook's just made that much harder.
It's a problem that's growing increasingly internationally. The Albanese government is preparing for the possibility Meta will extend the news blackout into Australia rather than pay publishers for their content. Here in Canada, there's no telling what this next wildfire season will bring. But as Meta holds firm on its news ban, we do know sharing news in communities like this will be that much harder.